secretary for many years. He's also ISKCON Bureau member, and he's also the trustee of Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. He's source of inspiration for devotees around the world, especially for distributing books. He and Vaisheshik Prabhu recently relaunched this Bhadra Purnima campaign, through which now thousands of Bhagavatam sets are being distributed every year. And he is also instrumental in developing annual Srila Prabhupada book marathon, wherein lakhs of Prabhupada Bhagavad-Gita's are being distributed. So Srila Prabhupada, he very much wanted his books to be printed and distributed, and for that he especially established separately Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and Prabhu has been managing that very effectively for so many years now as a trustee of BBT, and we are so honored that today we are having his wonderful session.
Hare Krishna.
So let us welcome His Grace Bhima Prabhuji to our Shishinitai Gauranga ISKCON Newtown Temple by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo! 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 How many of you know English? Raise hands. कितने भक्तों को अंग्रेजी समझ में आएगा? ओके, ठीक है. हरे कृष्ण.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajacanaranjana Jamunatiravanachari Jamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakachacha Ashtotarita Shishimat Abhay Charanarvindam Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Kori Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Sangh Stapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnavati Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Starting with verse 10, 11. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 81, verse number 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Etavatalam Vishvatman Sarvasampat Samhridaye Asmin Loke Tavamusmin Pumsa Tvatoshakardanam. Translation. Queen Kunti said, "This is more than enough, O soul of the universe, to secure him an abundance of all kinds of wealth in this world and the next. After all, one's prosperity depends simply on your satisfaction. Brahmanastang tu rajanim usit vachchutya mandire bhaktva pitva sukham mene atmanam svargatim gata." Translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, "The Brahmin spent that night in Lord Achyuta's palace after eating and drinking to his full satisfaction. He felt as if he had gone to the spiritual world." Responsively, Svabhute Vishvabhavena Svabhute Vishvabhavena Svasukhen Abhivanditaha Svasukhen Abhivanditaha Jagama Swalayam Tata Jagama Swalayam Tata Patyana Vargya Nanditaha Patyana Vraja Nanditaha Svabhute Vishvabhavena Svasukena Bhivanditaha Jagama Swalayam Tata Patyana Vraja Nanditaha Svabhute Vishvabhavena Svasukena Bhivanditaha Jagama Swalayam Tata Patyana Vraja Nanditaha Svabhute Vishvanavena Swasukena Bhivanditaha Jagama Swalayam Tata Patyanha Brajananditaha Shobhute Vishwabhavena Swasukena Vibanditaha Jagama Swalayam Tata Patyana Vranshananditaha. Ladies. Swabhu Swabhute. On the following day, Vishwa of the universe, Bhavena by the maintainer, Swa within himself, Sukhena who experiences happiness, Abhivanditaha honored, Jagama he went, Swa to his own, Alayam residence, Tata my dear King Parikshit, Pati along the path, Anuvraja walking, Nanditaha delighted. Translation. The next day, Sudama set off for home while being honored by Lord Krishna, the self-satisfied maintainer of the universe. The Brahmin felt greatly delighted, my dear king, as he walked along the road. Purport. We are here reminded that Lord Krishna maintains the supply of desirable objects for the whole universe. Therefore, it is to be understood that he was about to manifest for Sudama opulence greater than Indra's, being Svasukha, perfectly complete in his own bliss. The Lord has an unlimited capacity for bestowing gifts. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the word Abhivanditaha indicates that Lord Krishna accompanied Sudama on the road for a short distance and finally parted with the Brahmin after bowing down to him and speaking some respectful words. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurindritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, here it's mentioned in the purport that Lord Krishna maintains the supply of desirable objects for the whole universe. The materialistic concept is that nature, some people say, okay, nature was created by God, but then after he created everything, he put it on automatic pilot. It does what it does, right? But no, that's not the fact. That's not what we understand from Shastra. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayad yakshena prakriti suyate charachanam, that this material energy is working under my direction, Krishna says. So how is that automatic pilot? It's working under his direction. Just like Prabhupada says, Mr. Ford, right? He's not turning every bolt and nut but by his energy, that factory is running. Right? The same way, the Supreme Lord, it's true, he created everything, but he's maintaining everything at the same time. Therefore, the devotees of the Lord understand that if they receive something, and everyone needs something in this material world. We need food to eat, we need water to drink, we need air to breathe, right? Although air to breathe is becoming shortage, clean air. Where do you find clean air now? Kolkata, or Bombay for that matter. I remember the devotees in Chopati, they were always getting sick with malaria, right? And that Chinese mosquito net became popular after that. Right? Become free from malaria. Why? Because sewage water is going, and the mosquitoes lay their eggs in the sewage water, and they pick up so many bacteria and transmit it to us in the form of malaria. Right? So, but still, we should be thankful that there is some air to breathe, that there's water to drink, that we can still see the sun. As Kali Yuga goes on, all these things will also be diminished, right? In Kali Yuga. You know, it's not a very good idea to go to the heavenly planets. In the Vedic literatures, there's prescriptions or yagyas that you can perform to worship Indra so that you can go to the heavenly planets, right? People think, oh, that's their goal, to go to the heavenly planets. I asked one devotee, so what's your plan for going back to Godhead? Oh, no, I have no plan for going back. I'm just trying to get to the heavenly planets. I guess I gave up. Anyway, it's not a good prospect. Huh? Why? Because if you go to the heavenly planets, you'll live for a long time. How long? 6 months here, 1 day there. So if you calculate it, a lifetime there, it's about 150,000 years here. So after you finish up your heavenly planet enjoyment, then where are you to go? Come back here. And right now we're into the Kali Yuga. So we got ahead of us 400,000 years of Kali Yuga. So you'll come back to this place and it'll be, what is the state now? No fresh air, hard to get clean water. What will it be like 150 years from, 150,000 years from now? So going to the heavenly planets is not a good idea. It's not advisable. Huh? But then yet, to go back to the spiritual world is not an easy thing either. Look at the mentality of Sudama. Sudama is such a pure person, a pure devotee of Krishna. To have that kind of mentality. He went to Krishna because his wife told him to go, which is usually the way it works when you're married. The wife tells you where to go. And the illusion is that the guy comes in on a horse with a fancy turban and the band's playing, right? And he's thinking, yes, my wife will listen to me and do whatever I say. But right after the marriage, we know who the boss is. Don't laugh, unless you're a nice sticky brahmachari, don't laugh. So, that's a situation in the material world. It's never what it's cranked up to be, right? Even going to the heavenly planets is not advisable. So what is advisable? It's advisable to become a pure devotee like Sudama. Huh? He came to Krishna, his wife sent him, they had nothing, right? So she said, ask your friend, we can at least survive. So he thought, okay, I don't want to ask anything from Krishna, but I would like to see Krishna. So he made the trek all the way to Dwarka to meet Krishna. And Krishna received him so nicely and worshipped him as a Brahmin and as his close friend. They were remembering being in the Gurukul together. But then either he forgot or he was embarrassed to ask for anything. Didn't want to ask the Lord for anything. Right? But the Lord, as a Paramatma, he knew everything. Right? So even without him asking, he knew that his wife had sent him and that they were very poor. And he ate these few grains of chipped rice, right? And even that, Sudama was afraid to offer because it was such a simple thing. And here he's meeting with the husband of the goddess of fortune, so opulent there. But still, the Lord, he accepts devotion. It's not the value of the gift or the thing that you're presenting. Right? Prabhupada, in one clip from a class, he says, what is the value of the thing that you're giving? Right? Krishna's not after that. He said, Krishna is not hungry for your puris and sabji. Right? He has Radharani cooking for him. Radharani has a benediction from Durvasa. Whatever she cooks is sweet as nectar. And she never cooks the same preparation twice, always something new variety. Variety is the mother of enjoyment, right? So, Krishna has, sometimes Mother Yashoda calls Radharani to cook for Krishna because she knows that Radharani is such an expert cook and she wants her Lala to have the nice thing. So sometimes she calls from Vrishabhanu's house, you cook for my Lala. So this is the Lord, such an opulent situation. But still, he'll accept from his devotees. So we're in a very fortunate situation in that we have no adhikari to offer anything to Krishna. Right? But on our behalf, on their instruction, Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, they're asking the Lord to accept our service. Whatever we can offer. They, on our behalf, they beseech the Lord, you please accept their offering. When Srila Prabhupada, after he installed the deities in Australia, I forget which time, I think maybe it was Melbourne, or when he installed the deities, Radha Krishna. So then he was leaving, and he prayed to the Lord, now I'm leaving you in their hands. Please, you guide them how to worship you properly. So that's Srila Prabhupada's mood. He knows our shortcomings. He knows that we're not having so many qualifications to worship Krishna, but still he's beseeching the Lord on behalf of the whole parampara to accept our service. And if he didn't do that, where would we be? There's a long way from us to the devotion that Sudama has. That's when Bhagvatam, it describes the cowherd boys, right? Punya punya kirtam. They have so much lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of pious activities they must perform to be the friend of Lord Krishna. So we don't have so much credit. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can develop our credit rating. Right? People in the material world are worried about their credit rating. They monitor their credit rates. Right? So why? They can get a loan. They can buy things on credit. Right? They want credit rating. So we want credit with Krishna. Right? Not in a material sense, but in a spiritual sense. We want to do something to please Krishna's devotees so that the Lord will be pleased with us. Otherwise, it's not possible. Yesterday in Panihati, the verse was in relationship to the Prachetas. The Prachetas had gotten a prayer from Lord Shiva, and they recited that prayer to please the Lord. But the Lord decided to give them his darshan. He came. Sakshat, the Supreme Lord, gave their darshan. Why? Because these Prachetas were all cooperating with each other for his pleasure. So Krishna, when he sees that the devotees in any particular temple are working together in a humble mood to please him, he becomes very pleased. And he shows mercy on the devotees. And what is that mercy? That mercy comes in the form of an attraction for his holy name. An attraction for his holy name. Such a rare thing, attraction for the holy name. There's different stages of chanting. There's offensive chanting, namabhas, shud nam. Okay? So by offensive chanting, as I mentioned before, you can make it to the heavenly planets. But it's not a good idea, right? We don't really want to, the followers of Vedic prescriptions are chanting, performing so many yagyas and chanting of mantras to make it to the heavenly planets. All you have to do is do a sloppy job of your chanting and you can make it to the heavenly planets. But we don't want to do that, do we? Everybody say no. No. Right. What we want to do is chant nicely, chant with attention, with concentration. Why? So that at least we'll come to Namabhas, right? No. Why? Namabhas? What is Namabhas? Namabhas means there's some shadow of the chanting, right? We're getting some glimpse of that the name is non-different from Krishna, which is a stage that we have to work for, but we don't want to stay there. Why? Because the result of that will be some impersonal conception of the absolute truth, not personal. Right? So we're looking for a Shudnam. So how to get Shudnam? Seems very far away, seems very difficult also, right? We're stuck in offensive chanting, and even if I make it to Namabhas, still I have to go further. It's like trying to walk 100 miles on a hot day or something in the sun. But we have some help. And what is that help? That help is a mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we not only chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, where there are considerations of different offenses, but we also chant Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar. The names of the Panchatattva. And by chanting these names, one can become free from offenses. One can easily, whether you're offensive or not offensive, you'll get the benefit when you chant the Panchatattva mantra. And there was one devotee who said, well, why should I chant Hare Krishna? I'll just chant the Panchatattva mantra. He made up his own movement, And, but no, we have to follow the authority. The authority says, chant first the Panchatattva mantra and then chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And try to attract the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because then the most impossible thing by his remembrance becomes possible. And the easiest thing, when you forget Mahaprabhu, it becomes an impossible thing to do. So yes, our task of coming to the platform, of having devotion like Sudama, seems like impossible. It's like an impossible thing. He was so pure, right? Didn't want to ask anything from Krishna. And he was happy just to be in Krishna's association. And when he was walking back, and he forgot to ask for anything, right? A devotee less advanced would have thought, Are the Supreme Lord knows everything. I didn't ask, that's okay, but he should have known he's a Paramatma, and he should have gave me whatever I came for. Anyway, This is lower level of devotion, right? Well, what did Sudama think? Sudama thought, no, the Lord knows very well. Huh? He's so kind. He knows everything, but he didn't give me anything because the Lord knows if he gives me opulence, I'll forget his lotus feet. This is Sudama. And but yet the Lord provided him with so much opulence, more than even Indra. The Lord is very kind. He knows what is best for the devotee, right? And what is detrimental to the devotee's devotional service. What is, look at the opulence he gave Srila Prabhupada. So much opulence. So much opulence. There was the father of Jawaharlal Nehru. His name was Motilal Nehru. He was a very big lawyer in Allahabad. Motilal Nehru. Very rich man. He was so rich that he had a Britisher as his servant. Right? And even after there was independence, he still kept that Britisher as his servant. He had to pay a hefty amount. So one person told him, why you're keeping this Sahib as a servant? With the same money, you can keep 10 servants from India. And he said, no, the British kept us as their servants for so many years. I want to show that at least we can keep one, Britisher as a servant. Motilal Nehru. But just see Prabhupada's opulence. He had thousands of Americans and British servants. Right? And he told, they're ready to even die for me. And I don't pay them anything. Srila Prabhupada ki. So much opulence. Lord is ready to give to his devotee. But the devotee always appreciates that whatever's opulence is there, it's coming from Krishna, and it's meant to be engaged in Krishna's service. Not for my sense gratification. Right? As soon as that contamination comes in, ahankar, I'm the enjoyer, then sarvanast, everything is finished. So how to be free from that? Only possible by the mercy of service to the Vaishnavas, service to the devotees. Then the Lord from within our heart will give us the intelligence. He'll give us the required knowledge to understand things as they are. And without that, it's absolutely not possible. There are so many diversions that are there in the path to pure devotional service. Right? So just like coming here yesterday, we took a wrong turn, and we were 1 hour in the wrong direction and took another hour to get back on track. Right? So devotional service is like that. Prabhupada gives it the example, it's like shaving. If you know how to shave, you can get a good shave, but if you don't, you can cut and there'll be bloodshed. Right? So in devotional service, it's like that. So always take shelter of the devotees. You may do anything, but don't give up the association of devotees. Always keep that as your goal, to have association with devotees. Try to chant the name purely, depend on the mercy of the Panchatattva to help us in all regards, especially in pure chanting. Then it'll be possible to one day have devotion like Sudama Brahman. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna. If there are any questions, you can raise hand. Mike, thank you.
Prabhuji, what is your recommendation about coming to Suddhanam? Because you told it is a far away to go to Suddhanam. So in this stage, what we should practice so that one day we can reach that stage?
Well, one way to get Shudnam is to always chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Don't stop. Just keep chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting. That's one way to get it. The other way to get it is to have a service mentality. Right? In the material world, no one wants to serve, everybody wants to be served. That's material consciousness. So developing a service mentality. Go out of your way to do something to please devotees, to please the parampara, developing a service attitude. And the third way is to take shelter of the Panchatattva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So by these three methods, you can come to Shudna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, can you share your some of the remembrance of Srila Prabhupada, how you met him, how you joined St. Louis Temple, and how you came to India?
How I met, I came to the St. Louis Temple because a friend of mine joined the temple, and he had a room down the street from the temple that he was renting. And he said, look, I paid the rent. If you want, you can live there. I'm going to move into the temple. So I moved into his place, and he moved into the temple. A few days later, the devotee said, we're going to New Vrindavan for Janmashtami. Want to come? And I didn't know what Janmashtami was, nor did I know where New Vrindavan was. But I said, okay, let's go. So when I came to New Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada was supposed to come there. He had come the year before, and they had the Bhagavad Dharma discourses. So they were expecting Srila Prabhupada again to come to New Vrindavan. But actually he stayed back in Bhaktivedanta Manor in 1973 for the opening and the installation, so he didn't come. But there were lots of devotees there from all over America. And the Vaikuntha players were there, and Vishnu Jan Maharaj was there, and fantastic kirtans were going on. So when we went back to my hometown, St. Louis, I moved into the temple and stayed there ever since. Then later on, after 6 months of being in the temple, Janmashtami, they said their letter came from Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, I want as many devotees as possible to come to India and Mayapur for the Gaur Purnima. So our temple president, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, who was at that time a Kanlal, he let everybody go to India, except for one pujari. Take care. No, even that time we didn't have deities. When I joined the temple, there was only a picture of the Panchatattva on the altar. But we had a standard, just like deity worship, but even though there was just a picture of the Panchatattva. So we all came to India, and I got initiated in Gaur Purnima Day, 1974, exactly just 50 years ago. So if a guy like me can do that, you can do it too. Don't worry. You can spend 50 years of your life in Krishna consciousness. I have no regrets. I don't think I missed anything out in the material world. Absolutely. In fact, I'm sure I missed a lot of probably bad times out there. So there's no positive prospects that are available in the material world. And in Krishna consciousness, there are so many positive things. I can remember when I came here this land the first time, hardly there was one room or something. Now there's an air-conditioned temple room, right? So it just happens by Krishna's grace. Of course, there's a lot of hard work of the devotees, no doubt. But that hard work is not like the hard work of the karmis. The karmis work very hard for something, still they're not happy. The devotees do something for Krishna and they feel satisfaction inside. Why do they feel satisfaction inside? Because Krishna is satisfied. Just like Sudama. He didn't get anything, but he met his friend. And he gave his friend some chipped rice. He was embarrassed, but he felt like he was in the spiritual world because of the association of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada advised us, whatever you do, stay in association of devotees. If anyone thinks that they can become Krishna conscious outside the association of the devotees of this Krishna consciousness movement, they're living in a great illusion. So stay in association of devotees and chant Hare Krishna and make your life successful. Hare Krishna. One more question. Mike? What's your name, Prabhu?
I'm Maharas Das.
Ras Das. Maharas Das. Hare Krishna.
Because you're talking about landing up in heaven. So just one episode comes to my mind from Srimad Bhagvatam.
Oh.
Where Kardam Muni appeases Lord Vishnu. And instead of asking a boon to go back to Godhead, he's desiring a wife. And purpose is that everybody is not, in the purpose is that everybody is not eligible for liberation. So just it creates a theoretical doubt in my mind. Is everyone eligible to go back home, back to Godhead?
Yes. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, no. Nobody's eligible. Nobody's eligible. But by his mercy, we become eligible. Right? One time somebody asked him, there's a short video, somebody says, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? Within a second. Immediately. Why, you're not reading my books? You're not reading the books? Right? So by his intention. Otherwise, how is it possible? How is it possible that persons who are eating meat, having illicit sex, gambling, taking intoxication, doing all nonsense, hippies, how they became Krishna conscious? Opening temples, going to far off places, they didn't know anybody, and starting Krishna consciousness from nothing, and people are coming forward to chant. There was this one girl, she was in Hong Kong, and she wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada. She said, Srila Prabhupada, it says in Shastra that milk touched by the lips of a serpent has a poisonous effect. So I'm going out on Harinam in Hong Kong, but I don't think it's doing anything because I'm not very. And Prabhupada said, no, because you're acting on my order, therefore it will have an effect. So due to the intense desire of Krishna's pure devotee, even persons that ordinarily wouldn't have any chance at all, they get a chance. So out of his intense desire to please his spiritual master, out of his intense desire to please Krishna, Krishna from within the heart of persons that don't have qualification, he makes qualification. They don't have any adhikari, he gives them adhikari. And that's natural also, because if you want to meet the Prime Minister, it's a very difficult job. You have to go through protocol, this, that. But if you know the friend of the Prime Minister, he can just bring you like that. In the same way, because of Srila Prabhupada's intimate connection with Krishna, and because of his desire to please the spiritual master and Lord Chaitanya, Krishna from within the heart enlightens the devotee. In my case, I was thinking one day, I had seen the devotees in a rock festival. And, we were up all night and they came in the morning, they were sitting around us and they were chanting. They gave me a stick of incense. They gave me a Simply Wonderful, which I thought was a donut. And they gave me one card that said, chant Hare Krishna and your life will be sublime, right? That's the first contact with the devotees, right? And I put the card in my pocket and forgot about it, ate the Simply Wonderful, and that was it, right? But at some point, an idea came, hey, they go down and they chant downtown. That would be an interesting thing to do. Now, where did that idea come from? From the Lord in the heart. And the realization that I'm not happy here in this material world. I'm suffering. From the Lord in the heart. The materialists, they never get that idea. Even though they're suffering like anything, they're just like the cow. The cow goes to eat something on the hot gadi, and the guy shows the stick, right? 2 minutes later, they come back, same thing again, right? Materialistic consciousness. But to have that realization that, wow, I'm suffering, how to end this suffering, that comes from the Lord by the mercy of the pure devotee. So, yes, we don't want to get stuck, and we're not qualified at all. But if we try to do something to push forward this movement, then the Srila Prabhupada will take special consideration for us. And he even said that. He said that at the time of death, the devotee may forget Krishna. He may not be able to get it together, right? But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, for those devotees that have done something to push forward the movement in terms of preaching and book distribution, Lord Chaitanya will force himself into their minds and deliver them. So it's not that we should sit back and wait for the special mercy, but we have to do something to try to please the Lord. And that thing that we have to do is work together cooperatively. And then we can hope for the mercy.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And if it doesn't work, at least you go to the heavenly planets. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for wonderful class, Prabhuji. We know that Srila Prabhupada very much wanted his books to be distributed. And we understand that it gives a lot of pleasure to Srila Prabhupada when one goes for distributing his books. Nonetheless, we lose the enthusiasm to do the service. We may be enthusiastic during the marathon time to distribute the books for the sake of scores, but how to remain spirited, how to be inspired in the other time of the year to keep distributing the books only for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada.
Well, this is interesting that the devotees were with Srila Prabhupada in Chicago. They were the airport devotees, like Tripurari and 𝐂𝐻𝐈𝐍 and Kavi Swami. They had a team from Los Angeles, and the O'Hara Airport was really good for distribution. So they directly represented the BBT, and they were situated in Chicago. And Prabhupada came to Chicago because they were distributing so many books, so he made it a point to come to Chicago. And they asked him this question, how to, maintain enthusiasm to distribute books. And they were thinking he was going to say, read the books, or what he said is to serve the deity nicely. Serve the deity very nicely. And that way you'll maintain your enthusiasm to do book distribution. So after that, then the devotees, they got, tried to get some seva for the, wash the pots or, transfer Krishna's plate, and right? Because ultimately the books are about Krishna. We're giving people Krishna. So to have the enthusiasm to give Krishna, we should have that kind of enthusiasm to serve Krishna. And his personal service is there in the deity worship. That's what he said. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Yeah.